In front of the Demon Lord's castle, the main character, Jin, is waiting for his all-female team to say something. What's wrong, everyone? If this is about the strategy for fighting the Demon Lord. As he was saying that, they abruptly called his name out, saying, Jin, in the name of the hero, Reki alias, I hereby kick you out of the party. Hearing this, his mind was boggled that we get to know his past. He is Jin Jest. He left a small village with his childhood friend, Reki Moore, who received the hero blessing from the goddess to defeat the Demon Lord. Along the way, they added Saint Yuri and, with the addition of Ryushia, aka the Sage, to the team. They fought the Demon Lord's army in various places, and finally, they reached the day of a decisive battle at the Demon Lord's castle. Returning to the present, his team says, Jin, do you remember our promise? He wonders, the promise? When we set out on our journey, we made a pact with a priest. If I became a hindrance, I will leave the party. Are you talking about that promise? When feelings quieted down, he says, yes, of course. I knew this day would come eventually. As he says this, we see the hero blessing. While saying, I see, that is good then, we get to know that the early bloomer blessing he possesses allows for fast growth, but has little potential. His contributions were significant at first, but the one who embodies the goddess and grants holy blessings, the saint, and the one who overwhelms with physical abilities, purifies demons, the hero, and the one who holds wisdom and wields lost ancient arts, the sage. No matter how hard he trained, the gap between them never closed. In more intense battles, he only became much more of a burden. The priestess, Yuri, says, Jin-san, we will carry out your feelings, while the sage, Ryushia, says, you are the best companion. That will never change. The main character thanks both of them as he goes close to the hero, Reki, and pats her on the head, saying, don't worry. I'm sure you can beat the Demon Lord. She says, I'm not worried about that. The hero adds, wait for me. Once we defeat the Demon Lord, I will come and get you right away. With that, the main character was off, saying, I should head back to my room. I need to pack up things. While he is leaving, both the sage and the priestess are feeling down. The main character himself thinks about how what Reki says probably won't come true. After defeating the Demon Lord, they will become heroes. It will probably become too difficult to have a conversation with them. I was also happy to travel with everyone, he thinks, but honestly, he gives them a last smile, saying, thank you. I wanted to fight alongside them until the very end. Seeing this, all three of them were speechless as they insist that he should go to bed and sleep, and they should also go and get some fresh air. Now in the room of the hero, Reki clenches the pillow, saying, finally, I have to defeat the Demon Lord as quickly as possible so I can go buy a wedding dress. It looks like a different kind of game is going on between these heroines. We see the hero. She wants to arrange the entire wedding to Jin's liking, but before that, I want to go out in the town with Jin after so long. It's not that I dislike Yuri or Ryushia, but compared to when we first set out, my alone time with him has decreased because of both of them. I just want it to be just the two of us. Jin has always been my hero who stayed by my side, even though I couldn't control the power granted by the blessing. You still showed kindness to a misfit like me, no matter what others said. I will always be on Reki's side, really always. Of course, Reki is precious family to me, he used to say. Hearing this, her tears would subside, and a blush would come on her face. Precious family, yes, she says. So then, if I defeat the Demon Lord, will you marry me? The main character's response was, haha, if Reki still likes me by then, I will definitely do that. It's a promise. These precious memories continued from age 5. This is why I've been fighting all this time, Reki says. Jin said he remembers our promises too. With our current strength, we could probably defeat the Demon Lord in just one day. But if something were to happen to Jin, that would be troublesome, so I will have to leave him apart from the party temporarily. Thinking about all this lovey-dovey talk, we see her cuddling the pillow, totally embarrassed, as she says goodnight to Jin and says, I love you. The scene now shifts to someone else. Someone in the bath says, why are you being so cute? I bet you're thinking about it, huh? I feel bad for Jin-san. But even without him alone, our fighting power won't change much. In fact, he could become our weakness. This is none other than the priestess, Yuri. She thinks to herself, I can see right through what our childish hero's thinking. Reki-chan plans to finish off the demon lord tomorrow and confess to Jin-san, but I'm sorry, Reki-chan, I cannot give up on this. No one understands the suffering of someone who had offered prayers as a saint since childhood. Since childhood, I have prayed as a saint, but no one ever understood my pain. It was the first time when he came. He says, whether it's something fun or painful, anything is fine. Would you tell me a story about you, Yuri? Why would you go so far for me? Was the question in her mind. The main character says, because we have all been saved by your prayers, but you have no one to turn to. I think that's wrong. Is such a thing even permitted? She asks. The main character says, it doesn't matter whether someone permits it or not. If there is anyone who says they won't permit it, I will punch them. I don't want to help the saint. I want to help Yuri. She was successful in hiding her tears then, but now it just won't do. Thinking about this, she caresses her own body in the bath, thinking, Jin-san is such a kind person. Even my frozen heart melts when appealing with such passionate eyes, thinking of him saying, I want to support Yuri. That is what he said. I cried then and couldn't respond, but the perfect time has finally come. That lonely look when leaving the room. Did he get his heart broken, thinking he was rejected? Don't worry, Jin-san. I will use everything of the saint to heal you now. Virginity? What's that? I will just quit being a saint. Besides, that is another reason. This is for both of them as well. After defeating the demon lord, the party will be disbanded, and it would be difficult for Jin-san to meet us due to our positions. However, if he has the position of the saint's husband, the country and the people cannot treat him poorly. It will also become easier for Reki-chan and the others to meet him. Reki-chan should be sleeping by now. Seriously, Ryushia is probably preparing for tomorrow. This is the perfect time for me to cross the line. As she arrived and opened the door of the main character's room, saying, Jin-san, I am coming in, what she found was not what she thought. There was no one in the room. She was a bit surprised as well as confused, but then she saw a letter on the desk. Jin-san, where are you? As she read, she grew angrier and angrier, saying, that old elf, and clenching her fist, in some different part of the world, we see a portal, and the main character, as well as Ryushia, coming out of it. Thank you for coming all this way to the village, Ryushia. Teleportation magic is child's play. So simple, the main character says. She replies, you said before this is a secret art only sages can use. She says, if it's for a friend, I don't mind. Besides, I was actually interested in Jin's hometown too. You will show me around, won't you? He says, of course. Thinking, honestly, I was grateful that Ryushia brought me here. I don't know what face to show everyone, but what can I do? He says, I'm always in debt to you, Ryushia. She says, are you still saying that? I just need to return by tomorrow morning. Until then, wanting to deepen the bonds with a companion isn't a bad thing, right? He says, that's true. I'm really happy. Honestly, I was a bit down. I can't offer much hospitality, but please come with me. With an elvish smile, she says, oh, it's almost time. Ryushia Eldia, born as an elf, and now over 2,800 years old in human terms, thinks, I am at an age where my peers have already started families, but I was so absorbed in research that I had no time to think about marriage. Before I knew it, I had both feet firmly planted in spinsterhood. As she was home, she was heartbroken because no man wanted a woman like her. I cried to my parents, but it was already too late. Even though I have the sage blessing, no, perhaps because I am a sage, I was avoided. In the end, I couldn't even get married. But as that was happening, I took this as an opportunity and chose to accompany the hero on her journey. Jin, whom I met there, was different from other men. When I try to make my spinsterhood into a joke, he says, is that so? I think that Ryushia is considerate and wonderful. I'm sure you will make a great wife. She says, well then, if I am completely hopeless by then, I will just make Jin take me. He says, if someone like me is okay, I would be happy to, of course. With this attitude and those words, she fell in love instantly. He also says, Ryushia is really reliable. Thank you for always helping. The light meter went up another heart. Hearing these words, she asked him what type of women he preferred, and he says, my type of woman would be, I might prefer older women. With this, the light meter bumped up even more. She thinks, it's almost time. Soon, this strong yet gentle boy will be mine. Anyways, they have arrived at the main character's house. He was quite nervous entering, while Ryushia put her hand on his shoulder, saying, Jin has certainly saved people. You can walk through that door with pride. He thanks her and then knocks on the door. As someone responded, we see a middle-aged man saying, who is it? As he saw Jin's face, the main character said, I am home, Dad. We see his dad saying, Mo, it's Jin. Jin has come back home. Hearing that, even his mother was a bit surprised, saying, welcome home, and asked, who is this lady? The main character says, let me introduce her. This person is. But she cut to the chase, saying, nice to meet you, father-in-law, mother-in-law. I am Ryushia, Jin's fiancé. Hearing this, everyone in the family was quite surprised, blushing or distressed. The main character thinks, am I now dreaming? While his mother asked, Ryushia-san really does love Jin, doesn't she? Jin is so lucky to catch such a beauty. She replied, today we also wanted to greet you both. The main character was still quite in distress as he says, wait, Ryushia, our future. We need to talk about our future. His parents were surprised, saying, our future? Listen without being surprised, Jin. As someone patted him, this was Ryushia saying, Jin, I love you. She was totally embarrassed saying all of that, while the main character said, wait. You never showed such signs even once. But then she took his hand in hers, saying, before, when I asked if you would take me if I wouldn't get married, you said, I would be happy to. The main character remembered the conversation and thought, I did say that. He then says, what about the demon lord? Without the sage, those two can't. She replied, I will head there right away after spending one night with Jin. What? One night together? He said. Ryushia says, I am serious. I seriously like Jin. I think you are the only one for me. He thinks to himself that Ryushia is certainly a wonderful woman, but suddenly becoming husband and wife. Maybe it's not such a bad idea for him as well, though. She takes his name kindly, saying, thinking carefully, Jin, will there be any woman who would marry you in the future with good style and equipment and a calm atmosphere? Ryushia is wonderful. I respect her as a person, too. He says to his parents as well as her, please give us a bit of space, and Ryushia, let's go outside for a bit. As both of them were outside, we see him and her against the wall. She was totally embarrassed as the main character takes her name, saying, you are really serious about this, aren't you? She says, of course I am. He then replies, you are a precious companion to me right now. I can't confidently say I love you, but from now on, I want to see you as a woman. Is someone like me okay? She wipes her tears and says, what are you saying? Jin is who I want to be with. As we see them getting closer, and closer, and they were about to kiss, someone hit them from above and bashed into them, knocking Jin afar. This was none other than the hero, Reki, and the priestess, Yuri. Do we see all of them checking upon him? The priestess is crying, saying, Jin-san, are you okay? Don't die just now. Who on earth did this? You all did this, though, he thinks to himself. We see Ryushia saying, you're in my way, so both of you move now. But the priestess says, leave the treatment to me. You know the magic of the same type cancels each other out. The hero, Reki, says, what's your real intention? That if I heal him, I will get a lot of praise? This is what the priestess thinks. Move aside, you pink saint. I will do it after all. You don't need to touch his side for healing magic, do you? Both of you move. While the hero, Reki, goes ahead and tries to give him mouth-to-mouth, the other says, I will give you mouth-to-mouth resurrection. Mouth-to-mouth isn't relevant right now. Being thought of so much by my companions, I'm truly blessed. He thinks, but his consciousness was gone, and they were still fighting with each other on who was going to treat him. Jin-san, wake up. Don't die. His consciousness is already lost. The next day at his home, he wakes up. He ended up surviving. As he opens his eyes, he thinks, this is my room. All the members came along, but as he was waking up, he thinks to himself, my body feels so heavy for some reason. He saw what was under the blanket, and it was none other than the pink saint, Yuri. He was totally surprised, thinking, why is Yuri here? He called her out, saying, wake up, Yuri, and thinks, that's right. I must have fainted yesterday when Ryushia confessed to me. Reki came flying out of nowhere, and, well, whatever the reason is, but still, why is she in my bed? No matter what, this position is bad. As something squishes to his pants, he says abruptly, please, will you wake up, Yuri? She woke up and rose, saying, Jin-san, good morning. How are you feeling? Seeing her, no one can tell that this person is the saint. The main character says, I am fine now. Thank you for treating me. That's good to hear, she says. What are your plans today? He says, it's the day of the Demon Lord's subjugation. I will pray for everyone's safety. While saying this, he suddenly remembered something and then says to her, why are you in a place like this? This is an important battle for peace. Are you going to do without the hero's party? Well, that is because what happened was last night at the Demon Lord Castle. It looks like both of them were there. The Demon Lord says, so you are the generation's hero. I am the great Demon Lord who rules over all demons, Kaiser. The hero, Reki, says, die now or die later. I will give you a choice. Now come forth. If you're going to be troublesome, I will face you with my full power. Her divine blade of judgment ran on him. It looks like what matters in the end is the power of love. That is what she says, and with that, the subjugation was started. The Demon Lord, in this war, which side was right, the humans or demons? She asked. The Demon Lord says, naturally, while she says, the humans were correct and victorious. The Demon Lord was totally terrified as well as depressed. She says, the purification seems to be working. From now on, please serve humanity. Even the bloody Demon Lord doesn't know what was happening, saying, damn, what's happening? Who's responsible for this? She says, understood. As I have been defeated, I accept the victor's condition. These were the lines the Demon Lord should have said, but she is saying them for him as both of them left him after defeating him. After the fainting of the main character, we see the decision was made. The sage, Ryushia, says, it ended in one hit, huh? The hero says, yeah, I could have done it all alone. I'm feeling almost sorry for the Demon Lord. We had more pressing matters. When I woke up, Jin was gone. The person who snuck him off was. Seeing this, she says, so now we just have to report to the king, and we are done. Well, about that, I left the report to you, Ryushia says. What? Wait a minute. The hero has to be there, obviously. Besides, I don't even make it in time for the subjugation, Reki says. The hero now doesn't want to leave Jin alone with anyone else than herself, saying, I don't know. Subjugating the Demon Lord is the hero's duty, though. The perverted elf, Ryushia, says, while the priestess, Yuri, says, look, she is right. Furthermore, you who know the king should accompany us for support. In the meantime, I will take care of him, with her big bazongas in her hands that we see the elf as well as the hero say, don't talk with your chest. This is why I hate women whose nutrition only goes to one part. Could you please stop the baseless insult? So stop emphasizing your chest. That's true. Someone needs to look after Jin here, and this will be decided by the legendary game of rock, paper, scissors. And when that is how it happens, that is all good. But sorry, I can't process all that. Did you really defeat the Demon Lord? The main character asks. She says, have I ever lied to you? He says, no, but that's how it is. The world is now in peace, Jin-san. Oh, then I see. Our journey has really ended. There is no reason for me to stay with everyone anymore, then. I should also return to being just a villager. He says, shouldn't the saint rejoin the hero's party? I don't feel any more pain, so you don't need to bother with someone like me. She replies, geez, don't say someone like me. If someone important to you speaks badly about themselves, it would make you sad, right? She has a blush on her face, but says, no, but don't say that anymore. He says, I understand. I won't put myself down ever again. And she made him promise. It's a promise now. She thought she was out of the heat, but then the main character asked, "Why are you in my bed?" She says, that's, please forgive me. Ulterior motivis. Going into his room, he thinks, Mom and Dad, aren't they here? They prepare breakfast for us, and there's a note on the table. Mom and Dad will be out until evening. It's just leftovers, but we prepared food that should give you energy. Good luck. He was totally surprised, thinking, what are those two talking about? I can't let the saints see something like this. But she abruptly came from behind him, asking, is it from your parents? He used wind blade to make small pieces of the paper and scattered it. She asked, why did you use magic? He says, oh no, no reason. It's nothing. More importantly, you change clothes. They look quite good on you, you know. She blushingly says, hee hee, I'm so happy. Actually, the nude gown was honestly too stimulating, he thinks to himself. She says, I was thinking about breakfast, but, as he says, it looks like Mom made it for us. The weather's nice, so let's eat on the terrace. She says, okay, and was beaming with happiness. As the main character takes a bite of the food, he thinks, so delicious. It has been a while since I had Mom's home cooking. I never had such fresh vegetables before. The same was also happy. This reminds me of when the main character was talking. She was happy just to hear him and says, it's been a while since we had such a peaceful morning. During our journey, there was no time for this. Peace is wonderful. It really is. The saint says, my body feels lighter too. Understand, the main character says. Not having to be on guard is a good thing. The saint then asks the main character, how will you spend your time from now on? He says, somehow, I think it will be easy. Tending fields, hunting sometimes, fishing. I want to do things I couldn't do before. And he asks her, what about you, Yuri? She was a bit hesitant and then says, I would like to have children. She was very blushy with this, thinking, sorry, I bit my tongue. She says, if I could chat leisurely like this, don't you think it would be wonderful? He says, yes, if it were possible, I'd also want to spend time like this with you forever. So we can spend time together forever from now on. The main character couldn't understand what she was saying or what was happening, but she says, I never forgot it from that moment. The passionate proposal you gave me, Jin-san. Blushingly, she says, you said it when we first met, didn't you? You said that when I'm suffering, when I'm about to pray, you would be there to support me. The marriage vow from back then was such a salvation when I was tired of living, frightened with every prayer. It was the light that shone on me. She was blushing while the main character says, Yuri, that's... She says, you are right. I need to properly put my feelings into words too. As she says, I love you, Jin-san. I want to live my life with you. We have been together for 3 years. I have seen many of your expressions. I know you really well. I thought I did, but this is different. She asked, what are you thinking right now? I can kind of tell what you were thinking, but I also don't want to lose. As we see her squishing the main character on her chest, the main character thought it was his fault and says, I'm sorry. I will move out of the way right away. But then she captured him and tightly held him, saying, I'm sorry, Jin. Despite what you think, I'm not a good girl. I will make you obsessed so much that you won't be able to live without me for a moment. Jin felt the weight of Reki pressing against him as she whispered, I'm not as good a girl as you think, Jean. I'm going to completely melt you. She pushed him closer, her body pinning him so he couldn't escape. His face was buried in her chest, overwhelmed by her closeness. Can you hear it? She asked softly. The sound of my heart. It's beating so fast. I don't understand anything because my heart is too loud. Jin's mind reeled. The sweet scent is making my head stop working. He was on the verge of succumbing to temptation, his instincts battling the allure as his hand inched higher. Reki's voice broke through, almost apologetic. Let me go, she murmured, as if pleading with Yuri in her thoughts. The tension was palpable, the moment teetering on the edge of something irreversible. Just then, a voice interrupted. What are you two doing out here? It was the hero, Reki, arriving just in time. Jean snapped out of his haze, saved from the brink. Both he and the girl stammered excuses. No, it's just, I almost collapsed, she said. Even the pervy saint chimed in. That's right. Just a coincidence, right? Reki, unconvinced, raised an eyebrow. If there's nothing going on, then fine. The girl blushed, glancing at Jean with an embarrassed look. I've said what I wanted to say, so I'll leave the rest to you. Reki-chan, Yuri said before adding, I'm going for a walk. Jean tried to stop her. Wait a minute, but Reki tugged him back from behind, her gaze intense and slightly awkward. The scene shifted to a quiet moment where they lay on a bed together. Reki spoke softly. It's nostalgic, lying down together like this. It's like being kids again. Her expression was blank, the vibe between them undeniably awkward. Jin's thoughts drifted to Yuri and Luka. I should probably tell Reki, too, as a companion. But he feared the aftermath. Reki broke the silence. I like Yuri because she's fundamentally kind. She's hard to hate. Yeah, Jin agreed. She's also good at cooking, taught me how to study, and her breasts are bigger than mine, Reki continued. Yeah, Jin nodded absent-mindedly, then caught himself. Wait, that's hard to agree with. Reki's eyes sparkled with determination. Even so, my feelings for you won't lose to anyone. Jin's face flushed, his heart thumping. What the hell is she thinking, going up against Reki like that? Memories flooded back. Nights when they used to sleep together as kids. Reki would sneak into his bed, saying, Jean is so warm. Do you remember? He asked, patting her head. You used to cling to me at first, but by morning, you'd kick me out of bed. Reki smirked. Those attacks don't work on me anymore. The hero's blessing is strong, Jean teased. I might not be able to match you anymore. Of course, she replied confidently. I can knock you down with my pinky finger. That's honestly shocking, though. Want to try arm wrestling again? Jean hesitated. I'll pass. I'd probably lose. Running away? Coward, she taunted, her words hitting like an arrow. Weakling. Fine, I'll do it, Jean declared, stung by her challenge. Don't just use your pinky. Come at me with everything you've got. You'll get hurt. Are you sure? She teased. Just my pinky, then. The arm wrestling match began. Got it, Jean said, throwing all his strength into it. But Reki's pinky was like a mountain, immovable. You're trying so hard. It's kind of cute, she said with a grin. Before he knew it, Jean was flung across the room, landing on the bed. I lost so easily, he groaned, defeated. Reki sat beside him, patting his head. Battles aren't all about strength. You don't need to lose confidence over one loss. A loss is a loss, she continued playfully. As punishment, you'll have to submit to interrogation. She climbed on top of him, pinning his hands to the bed. Jean, why won't you sleep with me anymore? You used to during our journey. Flustered, Jean stammered. That's because Reki's grip tightened, her voice softening. It's fine. Let's sleep together again, starting today. No, look, Jean protested. A man and a woman in bed together. I'm a man, you know. Does that mean you're conscious of me as a girl? Reki asked, her eyes gleaming. Jean was speechless, memories of their past swirling. I think of Reki as a girl? No, that's not it. She's always been like a little sister. But Reki's reaction was ecstatic. I'm so happy, she exclaimed, leaning closer. Before he could react, she kissed him on the lips. The moment was electric, both frustrating and exhilarating. Reki beamed. Finally, I graduated from being a little sister. Now I can stand beside you, not behind you. I'll forgive you with just this kiss for now. Jin's heart raced. I can't lie to myself anymore. I do like her. She tried so hard for my sake. I want to respond to her feelings. But the problem lingered. 3 people had confessed to him, and he hadn't given any of them an answer. Just then, Yuri and Lukia returned. Welcome back, they called. I'm back, Jean. The air grew heavy. What's with this atmosphere? Yuri asked. Could it be you crossed the line? Reki flushed, flustered. The elf chimed in. Is that true? Reki, so innocent, yet a proper young lady? Shut up. More importantly, how did the matter go? Of course, it went well, they replied. It was us, after all. What matter? Jean asked, confused. The pervy saint grinned. The wedding venue has been decided, you know. Jean smiled. I see, wonderful. Then his expression froze. Wait, what do you mean? Whose marriage is it? In unison, they declared. Isn't it obvious? It's me and you. The realization hit Jean like a tidal wave. Caught in a whirlwind of emotions, he faced a confirmed love triangle, unsure how to navigate the affections of all three.